Bruce, if I need to, I probably got 15, 20 minutes. So if we need to jump it in there, I'll just jump it in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. Today is Monday, November 25th, 2024. It seems there's a lot of you in here. I wonder why. My name is Michael. My friends call me Zolo. And directly to my right, scoping the chat right now to see what you guys have to say, we have the one, we have the only, Sal, Uncle Sam.
Hello.
Let's go to Sam next. Let's go live from Marco Island, Florida. We have the actual host of the show. Who's here chilling? Is that a Mike Evans jersey or Brady? Mike Evans, 13, home red jersey. Like I said, in the green room live from Marco Island, Florida, it is the one and only Sam Randazzo.
Howdy, everybody. We appreciate y'all being here today. We got some business to take care of.
And behind the decks on the ones and twos, coated, as always, in his own goo.
No, he's not. He's just pink.
He's just pink today. Bruce, the tugboat Venditti. Bruce, make sure you show yourself to the people.
Hello.
Oh, shit.
Hello.
By the way, we're going to have a free giveaway today. Today is going to be a special day for us. We are giving one lucky woman today in our chat an all expenses paid date with Bruce.
Any restaurant of your choosing, so long as it's Taco Bell or White Castle.
It's it. Don't worry, you're perfectly safe. He's a virgin.
You're perfectly safe.
Not true.
We'll be there chaperoning, and on top of that, we will pay for you to get your CPL.
And Uncle
Sam
will be giving full instructions at this date.
Full instructions on where to point the gun.
That's it.
Welcome to all of you who are here. Welcome. I'm sure some of you have been here in the past for other giveaways. We would really love to have you listen to the show all the time. We're having a lot of fun this year. The way I've described it to people is we have this video diary basically going of the Lions' dream season. It's a season of a lifetime right now. For those that don't know, the Lions are top offense in the NFL, number 2 in total defense in the NFL at the moment, top 5 in special teams. They're top 5 in all major metrics, which puts them at, analytically speaking, one of the best teams of all time, on par with the 2007 Patriots, which wink, wink, didn't win a Super Bowl, on par with some of the better Chiefs teams we've seen over the last couple years. They're a good team. So we have this video diary basically every Monday, or in certain instances Tuesdays or Wednesdays, going over the Lions' victories, and it's fun. You should come and banter with us. Come have fun. We have really good prop picks that hit all the time. On Friday, Sam said that former Lion Amir Abdullah would get an anytime touchdown. And Sam, did he have a touchdown yesterday?
Indeed, he did. Indeed, he did.
He did, as well as Jonnu Smith, who's been on fire for the Dolphins. I had that one. Uncle Sam, what was your prop that hit the other day? You had a good one.
I don't even remember.
Listen, we're good with the picks. We're good with the props. We're good with the fantasy advice. We have a lot of fun.
I don't even remember what I had, but it came out.
We're four
We do
East
not
Side
promote
Italians.
Gambling.
We do not promote any kind of gambling whatsoever.
Yeah, but we do, though. You want to shadow ban us, TikTok? Go ahead. We do. We gamble. We bet. We're all
Listen,
in
you're already going to kick me off for my language. Now you're going to get kicked out for gambling. Anyway.
Can I add into this here real quick? This party
Please.
that we're having?
Please, it's your
Wait a
show.
minute.
I wish you
Wait a
were
minute.
here.
Is the camera on? There it
Camera's-
is.
This
Go
is
ahead.
our proxy, Sam.
It's Thanksgiving, right? This is Thanksgiving week, and I was feeling a little extra generous, and we've had a huge outpouring of support from this giveaway in particular. So I wanted to let everybody know, we obviously have 2 sets of 2 tickets that we're giving away today, but we're going to piggyback off of this giveaway into a second one. So I started taking note this morning for everybody who subscribes to our YouTube today. This is a different giveaway from the one that we're announcing today. We're still giving away the 2 sets of 2 tickets today, but from this morning forward, everybody who subscribes to our YouTube channel today, on Wednesday, we're going to give away another 2 tickets. For subscribers to our YouTube channel on Wednesday, we're going to give away 2 more. So 6 tickets in total. We're going to give away the 2 sets of 2 today. We're going to give away another set of 2 on Wednesday exclusively for people who are with us today and have been with us that are subscribed to our channel. So if you've done the Instagram giveaway and you don't come out on top today, you have another chance to win on Wednesday if you are subscribed to YouTube. So get in there. If you're with us right now, all you got to do is click subscribe and you're entered to win 2 more tickets on Wednesday.
I have something to add to that.
What is that?
It's
What
just
was
a,
that?
it's just
Oh.
I'm adding suspense to the announcement that we're giving.
And what about the Bruce giveaway? Oh,
So yeah, welcome. Tell your friends. Subscribe to our channel. Listen to us. We're fun. We have a lot of fun here. We're better than turning on 97.1 and listening to Mike Valeni bully everyone on the station with his opinions and forcing them down your throat. We have different takes here. We argue. Uncle Sam and I have actually gotten in multiple fistfights live on the air before. He's won every single one of them. I've left with black eyes on how many separate occasions, Bruce? 3, 4?
this is not true. None of this is true. Mike is a great guy. I would never, ever do anything like that.
This is fun, though. We
don't agree. We don't agree a lot, but I would never use violence with Mike, ever. Never use violence. It's never the answer.
But also,
only when you're with Bruce.
What is
use
life
violence.
if we agree on everything? What are we if we agree on every
We
single
don't
football
agree on
take?
everything. But it would never be violent, ever.
So with that being said, how
I
was
don't believe
everyone's
in
weekend?
violence.
Sam, how was your weekend? You're abroad right now.
You are a broad.
You're muted.
I have had a pretty darn good week. It started out a little bit chilly down here. The sun has come out, getting the tan back. We're getting after it. Watched a ton of football yesterday, pretty much all day long. Had a little early Thanksgiving celebration, cracked into a turkey. I'm not going to lie. When it was in the sink being cleaned and it was all pink, the only thing I could think of was Bruce.
By the way, your mom.
God bless you.
Hey, by the way, you got way too much food going on down there for 4 people.
Oh, no, cleaned it. And 4 pies. Done.
I have a
Diet
follow-up
starts
gone?
next week.
So
Diet
ate all
starts
that
next
food?
week.
who's
Diet starts
participating
next
in
week.
Thanksgiving with you? Is it just the 4 of you?
Just 4 of it, 4 and 1/8. If you count
And
the
then
dog.
follow-up question: where is dinner tonight in Naples?
So we're celebrating a very special birthday today. So we're actually going to True Lux in Naples for a little bit of stone.
Oh. True Lux is always a good get. Congrats! Happy birthday to your dad,
Shout out to Sam Senior.
Senior. Shout out!
Happy
to
birthday.
Happy birthday.
We wouldn't
big
be here without
7-0.
Senior. We wouldn't be here without Senior. Uncle Sam, how was your weekend?
It's great.
Bruce?
It was good.
Let's talk football.
We'll jump right in. Why don't we start in none other than Indianapolis, where, and in the chat, if for some reason you guys were at the game yesterday, let us know. Of course, you all watched the game. At least I hope you would. But let's start in Indianapolis, Lucas Oil Stadium. The Lions took down the Indianapolis Colts 24-6. Before we get into some Lions talk, I have a couple questions for you guys about the Colts, really briefly. Number one, was that a solid Anthony Richardson performance that was overshadowed by some drops and some penalties and some miscues? Did you see?
No, he was missing receivers all day. I don't know.
Go ahead.
No,
Keep going.
he was kind of erratic, which that's what he is. He is erratic. He overthrows guys that are wide open. And he gets erratic, man. He misses receivers running on these crossing routes. Every week it's the same thing.
Do you see the potential, though? Because
because
he was erratic, but I recall when they first went down 24-6, whatever it was, he had, or maybe it was 21-6, their immediate next play, he threw a beautiful bomb where his receiver couldn't get both feet in. It was a beautiful ball.
Right.
And then I can't remember how many penalties that negated big plays for them, but there were a lot of plays that were negated by penalties.
Here's what I see on it. Big guy, big arm, doesn't have much touch. He's that comes with just repetition that he hasn't had. But I mean, physically wise, he's probably one of the most gifted quarterbacks in the league right now. The problem is he can't put together a solid performance. I like what they did on the first drive with him running the football, and he was doing that, and the Lions had problems with that. They had nothing to counter it, and then they totally got away from it. Then it was just they were trying to make him into this guy who's going to throw the ball all over the field, a la Jared Goff. He can't do that because he don't have the window range that Jared Goff has. And it's not about strong arm. It's about being accurate.
Can you teach the accuracy?
Huh?
Can you teach the accuracy?
Yes and no. I think either you got that or you don't. That's me personally. Maybe with repetition you could do it. You could kind of work it out, but I don't see it from him.
Sam,
that's just me.
You got anything to add, Sam?
No, I mean, I think pretty much you guys covered it. I wasn't blown away personally. I mean, average at best. Absolutely average at best for him.
We have a couple people in the chat. Ashley Vibrant says potential is there. Maria Fernandez says he was trying to be the whole team, having a team. Some really good points.
That is a good point, Maria Fernandez. That was a very good point.
On top of that, I just have one last question for you guys. The Colts are 5-7. The Texans are 7-5. Do either of you see a scenario? Texans aren't looking great. Do either of you see a scenario where the Texans relinquish their AFC South division lead to the Colts? Can the Colts push to win that division? Because they're not going to get in as a wild card. Can they win that division?
No.
Yeah, I think I agree. It might be too little too late, and they kind of choked away some of those one-score games back in October. So it's a little tough. But let's move on. By the way, we're going to talk a little Lions real quick, and then we'll call it 5, maybe 10 minutes. Tell your friends we're about to give away the 2 sets of tickets. But real quick on the Lions, I have a couple questions for you guys. Sam, let's start with you. Do the recent performances, not recent, yesterday in general, like 2 guys defensively that stood out to me were number 1 is Zadarius Smith, who I think was their highest graded defensive player, and then number 2, Aleem McNeil, who was a game record.
I thought McNeil was better than Smith yesterday.
Fair.
I thought he was the best player.
McNeil had a fantastic game.
Do their performances make us feel a little bit easier, a little better about not having Aiden Hutchinson right now?
It's the Colts, dude.
Yeah, but we're talking it's a 2-week body of work in the NFL.
It's the Colts.
The Colts have played, other than yesterday, the Colts have exclusively played in 1-score games.
No, I get that. I'm just saying, I mean, did any time in that game, did you feel that the Colts were a threat to win it? Be honest.
To win it?
A threat to win the game.
Yeah, the first drive. I thought their first drive, they looked good.
After the first drive?
No. But we're talking about Zadarius Smith and Aleem McNeil.
Well, I mean, Smith is still trying to get acclimated with the defense. I mean, actually, he played a lot of snaps. I was shocked he played as many as he did, to be honest with you.
He was real quick, Sam. He was the highest graded defender on the field for the Lions yesterday.
You watched the game.
Yeah.
Who do you think was the best defensive player on the field yesterday? Be honest.
You're not going to like my linebacker.
Be honest.
You're not going.
You're going to tell me Jack Campbell?
Malcolm Rodriguez, I thought was it. And
now,
Aleem McNeil.
You thought he was the best defensive player on the field yesterday.
Aleem McNeil.
I thought
Rodriguez.
Aleem McNeil was unblockable yesterday. They were having all kinds of fucking problems with him on the inside. And this is why a lot of those errant throws that Richardson was making across the field was going on because of the pressure that McNeil was putting on.
The pressures.
He didn't get there. I think, what do you have, one tackle yesterday?
There was also one play yesterday where Reeder, I thought that was Reeder's best game yesterday. Yeah. Reeder made a play and was getting bodies. Once Richardson started dropping back in the pocket in the first half, Reeder was getting a body and getting a hand on Richardson almost every time. And if it wasn't Reeder, it was McNeil. And I thought DJ Reeder had an outstanding
What they were doing
too.
was pushing them guards right into him. And he had no time to step up to throw the football because them guards were getting pushed right into his face. And to me, I thought McNeil, personally, I thought he was the best defensive player on the field. Even though he only registered one tackle yesterday, I thought his constant just beating his man was just that noticeable for me. I look for line play when I watch games. I don't watch all these fancy things. I watch for guys on the inside to see what they're doing. That will usually tells you how the game will turn out. And he was a game wrecker yesterday.
Marina in the chat says Vildor was not it yesterday. LOL. No, Kendall Vildor was the lowest.
You know what, though? You know what? The guy hasn't played. And guess
he
what?
should have been cut after last year's NFC Championship.
As soon as he went in, you know they were going to go after him. You know
because
they
he's
were going to
garbage.
go after him.
He's garbage.
I don't think so.
Also, you got to keep in mind.
He played pretty well.
Sam, I want to get your thoughts on something too, but real quick on Kendall Vildor. Remember the Lions defensively. This is what Aaron Glenn likes to do. They like to play aggressive man coverage, and if you don't have a certain skill set, you're not entirely suited to it. Yeah, he wasn't great yesterday, but keep in mind they're running a slightly different defense than they were last year, and he held his own better than you think he did. Yeah, it's not great, but it is what it is. That's what happens with one of your cornerbacks out. Sam, I have a quick question for you.
Of course.
Can Malcolm Rodriguez and Jack Campbell continue their dominance over the final stretch with Anzalone out, with Barnes out? Can they continue to keep that pace that they've been on the last couple weeks and run it through this kind of a mini gauntlet? It's not like the gauntlet over the last month, but run it through the next month. Run it through December.
I don't see an issue with it at all. I thought that defense was really strong yesterday. Even with Carlton Davis missing some snaps in there, realistically, I want to jump back to your first question, Ken. This make up for what they lost in Aiden Hutchinson? Explosively, no. Big play potential, no. But this defense is the best defense in the NFC. You could maybe, after last night's game, throw Philadelphia in that conversation. Anybody right now. And with Aiden Hutchinson, without Aiden Hutchinson, I think the expectations for the defense specifically are the same, and it's a defense that's good enough to take them all the way.
I agree with you. It's the number 2 defense behind the Colts, behind the Chargers, who are playing tonight, and we'll find out just how good the Chargers are against Lamar Jackson. And it just feels like the defense is getting better every week, and again, another reason you guys should listen to this podcast, we had a really good breakdown episode after the Cowboys game when Aiden Hutchinson was lost for the year. And we brought up some good points. And one of the ones that we brought up was that Aaron Glenn, over time, will shift the defense to playing through the D-line to have the defense play through the secondary, meaning Branch, meaning Kirby Joseph, Carlton Davis, and, of course, Terrion Arnold. And what you haven't realized is that has slowly happened. It's taken the pressure off of needing to get sacks and needing to do certain things that certain defensive lines and certain defenses have to do because they know that their corners are back there able to make plays and able to keep up with receivers. So if pass rushers stay in their lane and they just use an average amount of time to get to the quarterback is prone to making mistakes. And I think it's shown right now. The defense is evolving every week. The linebackers have gotten so much better since Hutchinson's been out. And I'm excited to see what they do this week. They have a somewhat mobile quarterback again that's coming off a good game in Caleb Williams. And I'm excited to see how that goes. Will the Lions be able to manage this upcoming stretch if Carlton Davis is out long term? What do you guys think?
Well, they've been scheming at this so far. I mean, I don't see them really having an issue till they hit Buffalo.
You don't think Green Bay is an issue?
Yes or no. No.
You guys don't.
Here's what I don't like about Green Bay. They looked good yesterday against a team that was just abysmal. They had a quarterback that couldn't throw the ball fucking 10 yards in front of him. He was awful. I don't know why San Francisco would resort to throwing a guy in there like that after they've lost a quarterback and lost Super Bowls because they didn't have a backup. I thought they would do something. When they lost Sam Darnold, they obviously didn't want to replace him, so they pulled this guy over here who hasn't played in a couple of years, but he was awful. He was awful. They couldn't sustain drives. They couldn't even run the ball to sustain drives. Their offensive line is not what they were in the last 2 years. Their defense is not where they were the last 2 years. I don't care how many injuries they had. The Lions have just as many injuries on their defense as San Francisco. They look like shit. I think you can get ready to throw the big shovel of cow manure right on top of them.
We will get to that later. I want to talk about the demise of the Niners later.
Yeah.
Sam, go ahead. We keep cutting you off.
Oh, no. I agree with everything you guys are saying. I agree with the outlook at San Francisco. I don't think Green Bay is a threat to this Lions team right now. I don't. I'm not wildly impressed with them, even after yesterday. They're just
Jordan Love looks like a world beater 1 minute, then he looks like a fucking rookie the next. He misses wide open guys. He has a lot of problems like Anthony Richardson. I see the same things from him. I see the same things. You got a big guy that can move in the pocket, that has a great arm, but it just he misses the easy throws. I don't get it. And I'm not even talking about Christian Watson dropping a touchdown that smacked him in the hands. I'm not even going to talk about that. I'm not even talking about that part. But, on key plays, third down plays, this guy's inaccurate. I look at the numbers, dude. Look at him, period. Watch him play on third downs, pressure down. He folds up.
I have one last question for the two of you. I'm cutting one out just for the sake of time. I just have some information to share. Daniel Jones cleared waivers today, and amongst teams like the Raiders and the Ravens and the Vikings, another team that's rumored to be interested in Daniel Jones is, of course, and I'm not talking about betting odds, by the way, too. You know how the Lions are always linked with betting odds as a landing spot for people, but a team that's genuinely being reported as showing interest is the Lions.
Daniel Jones?
And
Don't
Daniel
bring
Jones.
that evil in this building, dude.
Daniel Jones as a insurance backup, just in case, probably practice squad quarterback, emergency third quarterback in the event that something.
Well, he's
happens.
already that. He was that on the Giants.
He's the fourth.
I mean, let's be honest. Which teams need a quarterback right now the worst?
The Raiders.
I say the Raiders.
The Raiders need a quarterback more than any other team.
The Niners? The Raiders?
Potentially the Niners. I could see that. But
Cowboys.
Purdy,
I mean, if this Purdy injury goes any farther.
he threw today.
Yeah.
Purdy threw today. But that doesn't necessarily mean he could play this week.
Right. I mean, we don't even know that yet. I would say the Raiders for sure because I watched them yesterday right after the guy that Sammy hates, Gardner Minshew, went down with this cute little mustache. That his boy, who was it? Desmond Ridder came in there and was god-awful. God-awful. How this guy's even an NFL quarterback, it just blows my mind.
Sam, what do you think of the Daniel Jones rumors, real quick, before you give away some tickets?
I have absolutely no issue with them bringing him in if they want to go some depth. I mean, hypothetically, if Goff got banged up in a playoff situation, I would feel better about Daniel Jones being in there than, say, Hendon Hooker, just because there's some more on-field experience. I think Daniel Jones is exactly what we think he is, which is a career backup. But I don't mind it because I don't know how much I trust Hendon Hooker if you have a 14-win football team in the playoffs and Goff bumps his knee. You would like a little bit of reassurance. I don't hate it, but I ultimately think he ends up with Las Vegas.
Do you want to give away some tickets?
I would love nothing more than to give away some tickets. And I want to say I appreciate the outpouring of support from all of you guys through this giveaway. It makes it so exciting to have all you here. It really makes us enjoy what we're doing that much more. And
Oh,
don't.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Oh, no.
no.
Hold on.
we're
Switch the
going to give
camera.
away 2 more on Wednesday to somebody who subscribed. I'm back. I'm good.
God.
Like I said at the beginning of the show, we're going to give away 2 more to a YouTube subscriber on Wednesday. So, the other piece of news is don't hurry up and go and follow us on Instagram after this, because you know how the Lions play the Buffalo Bills here pretty soon? We're going to give away 2 tickets to that game too. And we might give away 2 tickets to the Green Bay game. So you need to be following us on Instagram or TikTok, because this will not be the last giveaway of the year. We're going to give away more tickets before this year is over, besides these 6 that we are giving away this week. So without further ado, our winners from Instagram is a Mr. Vinny Assad at Big Shot Vince 90. That is Vinny Assad at Big Shot Vince 90 on Instagram. That is number 1 winner. Our second winner from TikTok is at Lena Niemberg. At Lena Niemberg on TikTok. You guys are our 2 winners. We're going to reach out to you here shortly and get the tickets transferred over to you guys. Congratulations to all of you. And like I said, if you are watching this right now, subscribe to the YouTube, because we're going to do the same thing again on Wednesday. You can all come back and somebody else is going to win 2 tickets. And if you're already following us on Instagram, stay there, because we're going to announce the Buffalo Bills giveaway for sure, and possibly the Green Bay Packers giveaway. But, sorry. Still with me? Yeah. That's at Big Shot Vince 90 on Instagram. That's Vinny Assad. And at Lena Nierenberg on TikTok. I'm guessing her name is Lena Nierenberg. If I'm not saying that right, I'm sorry. But Wednesday, 2 more. Subscribe. If you're in here already, all you got to do is click subscribe and you're entered to win on Wednesday. All of our subscribers are entered to win on Wednesday. Get in there, subscribe, stick with us. Bills giveaway going to be announced probably next week. It's going to be a fun end of this football season. That's all I've got to say. And playoff giveaways. Don't forget, we gave off playoff giveaways at the end of the year.
Ooh,
So
we did give away. Did we do 2 games last year, or just
Yes,
the first game?
2.
We did 2.
We gave
We gave
2
away
sets of tickets
2
to the
games
first
last
game. I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
we
we're
did
going to do
2
that again.
games.
We're doing it again. We're going to give away the Bills game. We're going to give away playoff tickets. Stick with us. We're becoming in hot. There's going to be so many giveaways you guys aren't going to be able to keep track.
Well, we appreciate it, guys. And on top of that, please, stay tuned. We're going to have more opportunities to give away. We want you to ask us questions in the chat as well. We live for the questions. So come hang by while we talk a little bit more football. And let's stay in the division. The Vikings the Vikings went to the other mistake by the lake, as I like to call it, Soldier Field yesterday to take on the reeling Bears. And the game was actually close. 3 out of the 4 of us picked the Bears, and they almost pulled this one off. I think, did you have the Vikings, Uncle Sam?
I had the Vikings.
Chicago almost pulled it off at the end. Caleb Williams made a nice play to force a field goal to tie the game, and then they just couldn't get it going in overtime, to the point where the Vikings stormed the field, and John Parker Romo hit a chip shot field goal to win the game with 3 or 4 minutes left in overtime.
I will say that's the best I've seen
Chicago
look this year.
And you thought they were pretty defeated in giving up on their quarterback 2 weeks ago. Do you still think the offense is giving up on their quarterback?
There's issues there, personally.
What issues?
I just think there's issues. I mean, young players, they do stupid things until they learn how to be a seasoned vet. They continue to do dumb things that piss their teammates off. But I think if he could turn it around here and get these guys behind him, they got a chance to make a little run.
Let's switch gears real quick. I want to talk about the Vikings because you're our resident Vikinologist. Are the Vikings just the best of the rest after a few lackluster performances against some lower competition?
I don't.
Or in the
I
tier?
don't think so, man. They've only lost one game.
They've lost 2.
Oh,
do you think they're in the tier of Detroit or Philly? Do you think they're in that caliber team?
I think, you know what? With the talent they have, I think, hey, they can beat either one of those teams on any day.
Do you think they're better than the Packers?
They have to play again.
They have to play one more time in Minnesota.
Correct. In Minnesota.
Yeah. Vikings beat them the first time in Green Bay.
Well, that was in Green Bay, and that was early in the year. But, you'll start to tell what teams are here real soon. Yeah, you're going to separate the people that are pretenders and then people that are serious contenders. It's going to start to separate here.
So, real quick, do you think that they have the juice to make a run in the NFC?
I think so.
Can you envision them?
I think so. Listen, if they can get,
Daniel
they're going to
Jones.
be a hard, the division is not over by any means.
No, not at all.
The Lions have 4 divisional games to play left. You got to go. You got to play Green Bay again. Got to play Minnesota again, and you got to play Chicago twice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not over yet. Not over yet. What does Detroit got? A 1-game lead?
It's technically 2 because they hold the tiebreakers.
2.
It's
Okay.
technically 2 over Green Bay.
Guess what?
Over
that
Minnesota.
could turn real quick
Could.
if more injuries pop up and all of a sudden. But it's going to be exciting. The next 3 weeks will tell you what's going to go on.
So, do you think that was Caleb Williams' best performance as a pro so far?
I thought so. I thought he was making better decisions than earlier in the year.
And they're letting him make plays with his legs, which is what he did at USC. So they're letting him bail.
He kind of doesn't have a choice because
the pass rush is just
he looks good. Their offensive line is dog shit. He looks good sometimes, and then he looks like a rookie more than good. That's the problem. But yesterday he looked like a legitimate pro out there. He was making the right decisions and not turning the ball over. That's what's killed them. But what happens?
I agree. I thought Caleb Williams, from what I saw, was sharp yesterday. I think he was making some big-time throws, and it looked like USC Caleb Williams. I'll be honest, just looking ahead slightly here, the Lions are going to have their hands full on Thursday. They're, I think, 11.5 or 12-point favorites somehow, which I don't understand because the Eberflus Bears have been the only kryptonite to the Campbell Lions since they both arrived here. I think they've had the Lions number. I think there's going to be a lot of Bears fans there. It's not like it's going to make that much of a difference. This is probably the worst Bears team that the Lions will have a crack at since Eberflus has been there. And I think the Bears defense is a little more human than it was towards the beginning of the year. But the Lions are going to have their hands full, in my opinion. I think that these receivers look better.
Here's the bad thing. If the Bears can stay in this game till at least the half, I think they got a shot.
Yeah.
They have a shot. But if they going into the half and they're down by 10, it's going to be real ugly from there out. And it almost get ugly enough. I'm not saying Tennessee ugly enough, but if it gets like that, you might see Eberflus lose his job there come next week.
And that's what you would do it if that would be the occasion, I think, is if it coming off these 2 close games, divisional games that were both losses for the Bears.
Right.
And then you have the long weekend to implement new coaching. I think they would have done it by now. And we've gone over this before. The Bears have never fired a coach in season ever, and
We've seen a lot of things happening this year that have never happened.
No, it's true. That's true. George McCaskey was tailgating with Bears fans yesterday, and people were saying "Fire Eberflus" and screaming, and he was kind of like nodding, like "I know," like, as if not necessarily agreeing with them, but saying like "I understand your concerns." And I do think they're not going to go forward with Eberflus. At least they shouldn't. But, I know exactly what you're talking about and the potential for firing him. So no optimism for Chicago going forward, would you say? Or do you have a little optimism after seeing them the last 2 weeks?
I mean, we'll see what happens. Do I think – I hope – for the Lions' sake, I hope they're done, to be honest with you. I hope they go in there and get cranked.
So last question, is there any shot the Bears can beat the Lions on Thursday?
I think so. I think there's a shot any team can beat any team on any day.
But – is it something you could envision? Excuse me.
Yeah, I could see them. You know what? If there's a letdown game, this could be it right here. What happened last year? What happened last year on Thanksgiving?
Last year on Thanksgiving, they were supposed to beat the Packers, and the Packers came out instantly and beat the brakes
their
off
asses
them.
stomped.
They had a good game plan, which was we're going to pick on these Lions corners, and we're going to throw the ball, and we're going to make you stop us.
Right.
And then defensively, the Packers' game plan was we're going to stop the run. That's how you're beating teams. So we're going to make Jared Goff beat us. They only lost last year because Goff turned the ball over 3 or 4 times.
Right.
I don't think it's going to come as easy in the Bears or the Packers game for him to turn the ball over. I think the Lions are better than last year's Lions. Different Lions team altogether.
Yep.
But I know your point isn't lost. I know exactly what you're saying.
Listen, these divisional games are played at another level. I try explaining this to people. Everybody laughs, and they get a big kick out of it. I get it. But once these games start being played in division, you had another game yesterday that everybody thought was going to be a joke, and look what happened.
Speaking of in division, let's move on to Green Bay, where the Packers took down the once mighty San Francisco 49ers. Dark Lumen, if you can hear this, we miss you.
Is he him? Is he in?
No.
Lumen in there?
Any comments to sift through.
Is he dead?
Lumen gave up on football. Remember?
Lumen probably gave up, but the Packers defeated the very depleted San Francisco 49ers 38-10. No Brock Purdy. Just a reminder, no Brock Purdy, no Trent Williams, no Brandon Ayuk. Who else? There's a bunch of guys missing defensively. Nick Bosa. Not the same 49ers team that was supposed to be an NFC frontrunner. So I ask this question to you, Uncle Sam. You've kind of alluded to it a couple minutes ago, but was this a dominant Packers performance, or did the 49ers injuries impact the game?
Oh, it was definitely 49er injuries. The Brock Purdy thing was huge because this backup they got, this backup, just garbage, dude.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not going to lie to you. That was an embarrassing thing that Shanahan put out on the field there. If you knew you didn't have a guy that was suitable even to be a backup, shame on you. Shame on you. It's happened to you. It cost you a Super Bowl because you didn't have a decent backup. Shame on you.
I agree with you. I think that it's one thing when you factor in, like, we can play the injury card all year. The Lions are now down 6 defensive starters that were supposed to start.
I don't even
year.
think it was the defensive starters that were out. That was
no. I'm getting
really
to that. That's what I'm trying to tell you is when you get into missing a starting quarterback and you are asking your backup with minimal prep to go into Green Bay on the road and win. And you're already banged up. No Trent Williams. I thought that was huge yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought it was noticeable that they were missing Trent Williams.
Both sides of their line got their asses kicked.
They got beat in the trenches.
The offensive line got their ass kicked, and the defensive line got their ass kicked.
Yeah.
There was no sugarcoating that.
I'm with you. Circling back here, you kind of alluded to this as well in the past conversation, but do we still need to see more from Jordan Love for the Packers to be true NFC frontrunners? Do we need to see more like Jordan Love step his game up?
I think you see what Jordan Love is. I really.
You think he's at his ceiling right now?
I think I'm going to say it, and I don't know if a lot of people are going to bash me for it. I think you're looking at his ceiling.
Yeah, I don't think you're far
off. Just my opinion.
So here's the thing: he's raw Matthew Stafford. He makes all these crazy big time throws, but for every big time throw, there's a blunder, a throwing error,
turnover.
Yeah, a turnover. There's a bad ball. Yeah. I think he's solvable because he doesn't have the legs to keep up like quarterbacks. If the pocket breaks down or whatever.
You know what I question about him? His stamina. Why does that guy always look like he's reeling to me? He always looks like he's Pat Mahomes runs all over the field, and the guy never looks tired. This guy here, by the fourth quarter, he's done. He's done. He can't even move.
Yeah, because
is that just me or no?
He a thick boy.
Well, I don't know what it is. He needs you need to get some cardio, bud.
There might be a level of game shape for all the games that he missed this year. There might be a level of game shape that he's missing on. Like, he's just not conditioned properly. But also, it's been a month since his last true injury.
Yeah, but
I don't disagree.
Matt Stafford had that same issue too. But he solved that. He's lost a lot of weight. He looks good. He's in shape. I mean, you gotta approach that in a different way. It ain't about just throwing the football, man. It's about taking care of your body.
I'll say this much. If the Packers were as good as people thought they were going to be preseason, then they should be beating the brakes off of a lot of these teams. And I know
they beat the brakes off a team yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, you say I get it. I know I'm really jumping on that quarterback kid, but they did not. San Francisco did not look prepared for that game. And I'm going to say, I know this sounds pretty messed up, but I think that's coaching. They were not prepared. They were not prepared.
You're talking about the Niners?
Yes.
Okay.
You still have. Listen, just because you're missing Nick Bosa and who's that other dude on
Devondre Campbell?
No, the kid on the
corner.
defensive line.
Yeah, Javon Hargrave.
Yeah, you're missing Hargrave. You're missing Bosa. I get it, man. But you know what? You still got the best middle linebacker in football. You still had Devondre Campbell. He's good. He's not bad. You know, your secondary showed us something yesterday. They're not as good as you think they are. They were getting torched. You know, I mean, I don't know, man. I just don't think they were prepared.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Will the 49ers make the playoffs?
I don't think they will. I really don't.
I checked this earlier today, and they have a 17% chance.
Okay.
Because now there's two legitimate teams in front of them in the Seahawks and the Cardinals, who both play easier schedules.
The Seahawks ripped the heart out of their ass last week.
We'll get there.
And that's you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, they lost to the Cardinals. I mean, they're behind those two teams. You know?
I think any Lions fan that's still in the chat, and we appreciate if you're still here, any Lions fan who was hoping to get that Niners-Lions rematch at Ford Field in January this year, I don't think that's going to happen because I genuinely believe that the Niners are not going to make the playoffs right now. They're not going to get a wild card berth, and it's just too tough to crack that division at the moment because the other teams are winning and keeping pace, and the Niners still have to play the hardest schedule. Going forward, the Niners still have to play. They're at Buffalo this week, so they have to go to the cold weather. The Bears come to them. The Rams come to them. They go to Miami, and then they have the Lions, and then they have to go to Arizona. It's not quite a gauntlet. That's a tough schedule.
That's a tough road.
That's a very tough schedule. And at one point, I could see Niners Cardinals on January 5th being a play-in game. It's not going to be the case anymore. I think that the West will be if the Cardinals don't sweep through most of these games, the West is probably going to be locked up by them, by the Seahawks or the Cardinals.
Yeah, but
I don't see the Niners making it.
They looked awful yesterday.
You're talking about the Cardinals?
Yeah, they looked awful yesterday. Their offensive line was garbage yesterday.
All right, so why don't we go over there?
Okay.
The Seahawks in Seattle took down the Cardinals 16-6.
And took the division lead.
They took the division lead. Do they finish in first place?
The Seahawks?
The Seahawks.
Man, they're playing with a lot of confidence right now. Maybe.
I want to say that I'm just a massive Jackson Smith-Njigba guy. So to watch him eat the way he has over the last couple weeks, I'm so happy they're utilizing him properly. He was so good at Ohio State. He has the Rose Bowl record for yards and touchdowns. That's not an accident. That's not a bad thing. He was one of the ones that instantly complained when Shane Waldron, the recently fired Bears offensive coordinator, when Shane Waldron was brought up in the offseason at the Super Bowl. They asked him about Shane Waldron. He made this face. Get the guy the ball. Get the ball in Kenneth Walker's hands. Get the ball in Jackson Smith-Njigba's hands. It's not all about Metcalf and Lockett.
Let's talk about that game yesterday. You know what it was about? Their defense. Their defense was outstanding yesterday.
Mike McDonald.
Yeah, pick six for a touchdown. They could not. Kyler Murray could not get it going at all. They took away the run. They took away that nice little fade pass thingy they love to do. Mm-hmm. I thought the game plan on their defense yesterday was excellent. And that's the reason why they won the football game.
Yeah. So friendly reminder, Mike McDonald, former D coordinator for the Ravens. Before that, he was Michigan's defensive coordinator. He comes from that Wink Martindale system where they just put two deep safeties and they want to let you beat them. You want to beat us, you're going to have to throw a lot of short passes, and your quarterback's going to have to not be mobile and sit in the pocket and wait to take what the defense gives you. And, yeah, credit to them. We knew their defense would be good. Their defense played outstanding against Kyler, who had been red hot going into that game. So I can see if Geno can take a little bit of a step, I can see the Seahawks very handily winning this division. They have a 1-game lead now, or I think it's a half-game lead, give or take, over the Cardinals. And yeah, I agree with you. I like what I saw out of Seattle yesterday, and we will see if they can hold pace going forward. I'm excited to see how it goes. Real quick, why do the Cardinals struggle in the red zone so much?
What do you mean?
6 points yesterday.
Well,
they haven't found Trey McBride all year.
They could not handle that Seattle defensive line. The offensive line, their offensive line was getting burned on every play. It was bad. It was bad. They did not play well.
Let's move on. Why don't we head to Charlotte? And that is where the Kansas City Chiefs got lucky as all hell yesterday.
You know what? Let's stop that, dude.
No, they
Listen,
did. They did.
Kansas City has that button. They have the button that when the game is on the line and they have to win it, they hit that button every time.
But we're talking about the Carolina Panthers here. We're talking about Bryce Young that was benched, and he had the game of his career. He had the best game of his career yesterday.
He played good the week prior to that, too.
But he was better.
Prior to that,
he was better yesterday.
Since he came back.
Pardon me?
He's played good since he came back.
He's getting better every week, and we'll touch on Bryce Young, but
I don't think Carolina's the worst team in the league anymore.
Maybe not. I
truly don't feel that way.
Maybe not, but it's still the defending champions and the Super Bowl favorites going into the year against a team that's just not that good, even if they're not the worst team in the league. And they're the rope-a-dope thing. Like, when is it a rope-a-dope and when is it okay? There's problems. When will you come a little bit forward on that front? Like, do you not see that there's issues with their offense being out of sync?
Listen,
it's the Carolina Panthers.
All they do is win, dude.
Dude, they're winning.
All they do is win, dude.
But when is it a trend?
None of that shit matters.
When is it a trend that you're getting lucky with blocked field goals? You're getting lucky with interceptions that for a quarterback's throwing the ball away. You're getting lucky that a guy didn't toe tap. He was a toe away in week 1. You're getting lucky against the Carolina Panthers, who are not good.
Get a blocked field goal, you win a game.
Yeah, but when is it a trend? Like, they're supposed to be beating the brakes off of these teams, and they're playing an easy schedule, too.
I mean, easy schedule. They won a Super Bowl.
And they're still playing an easy schedule because of the divisions they play this year. They get to play NFC South.
I mean, we're saying easy schedule because some of them teams that were good last year are shit now.
Well, that's how it works, though. It's an easy...
Well, you could say the same thing about San Francisco, then.
And San Francisco
should be beating the brakes off of everybody, even though they don't have a quarterback. And they can't do that.
Listen, the Chiefs have a top 10 strength of schedule this year.
The Chiefs have won 10 games. How many games has everybody else
the Eagles
winning?
were 10-1 at this point last year, and there were issues, and we were talking about the issues, how they didn't look good.
The Eagles fell apart last year.
You don't think the Chiefs are on the brink of falling apart or falling apart?
I don't think coaching's their issue.
So what's their issue?
The reason why the Eagles fell apart, it was very clear. It was coaching. Their coaching was absolute
apart
dog
when they brought
shit.
Matt Patricia in.
Their coaching was dog shit down the stretch last year. That's not the issue with Kansas City.
So what's the issue with Kansas City? Because I think there's an issue. I think if you're not handily winning these games, like they're not, they lost the week before. 2 weeks ago, it took a blocked field goal. What's the issue? Because there are issues. If you're looking at Kansas City,
what are you looking at? That they got a lot of new players that they're trying to get up to speed into their shit.
I'm looking at their offense.
Might be it.
I'm looking at their offense being out of sync, and their defense, which won, in my opinion, their defense won them the league last year. Their defense is not. It's not the Chiefs' defense that we come to know and love. It's not the Spagnuolo defense that was not giving up. Bryce Young in a 2-minute drill yesterday did what he needed to do and carved through them to score a touchdown and got a 2-point conversion.
Right.
The Chiefs last year, we knew that was going to be stopped before they even got to midfield. That's how they were winning games last year, was their defense.
They're looking human then. They don't look like the best team in football anymore, right?
I agree. Okay. I still think they have the potential.
I still think, regardless of what anybody else says or thinks, I still think Kansas City is the best team in the AFC. It's my opinion.
I think they could win the AFC for sure.
Outside the Buffalo game, which could have went either way, that was a very close game right down to the end. I unless you go into Arrowhead and absolutely rape them, they're going to be there at the end.
So real quick, we touched on Bryce Young. We can all agree that was his best game as a pro, right?
Oh, absolutely.
He looked really good.
I thought he looked really good. I was really impressed with him yesterday.
What are the odds?
From the guy that got benched to now,
Completely different player.
Completely different player.
He's seeing so I watched a really good film breakdown, and I'll send it to you. He's small, so you blitz the hell out of him, and you have to force him to make throws. He's getting the ball out faster, and he looked like college Bryce Young. His comparison in college, people always said, you know who he is he's Steph Curry, because he gets the ball out really fast, and he makes the throw as quick as he can, because that's what you have to do when you're in the SEC. You're processing things at a really high rate. He was doing that yesterday. He was making those really quick throws and making every throw under pressure. He looked so good. So I'm going to ask you this. What are the odds that both Bryce Young, under center as the Panthers quarterback, and Dave Canales, with the headset on as the Panthers coach, are both back next year?
You know what? They just need to keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Keep grinding. Keep winning football games.
Keep improving.
They'll both Canales will keep his job.
Keep improving.
But if you see these two good performances, and then next week here, I don't know who they play next week. Who do they play next week? Carolina.
Next week, the Panthers have. I think it's someone in division. It might be the Bucks.
Okay.
Next week, the Panthers have the Bucks.
There you go.
The
Now,
Bucks
if
at
they
home.
can go in there and put in a really good performance against the Bucks and keep that game close, I think they're both. I think Canales keeps his job.
Yeah, I think they're both back next year. I think it's trending in the right direction. Agree with everything you said. It's just a matter of making sure everything keeps trending in the right direction through December, right? You keep showing that improvement, maybe not necessarily winning games, but being in games and not getting blown out and not making crazy mistakes and having a productive offense. You got the run game, right? You got Thielen back, so your pass catchers look a hell of a lot better. So let's see what you got going forward.
You know what? What was the reason you think yesterday that he looked so good?
I think they just tweaked their offense. Well, number one, I think the Chiefs are down a little bit, but number two, their offense is tweaked.
When he got into trouble, who was he looking for? Thielen.
Yeah, that helps.
Not having Thielen,
helps.
That veteran receiver that's been around for years, that guy you can count on to catch that ball when you need him to. You don't have that. With Thielen not on the field, he's a different quarterback.
I am with you. And let's move on. Let's stay in the AFC West. We'll head over to Las Vegas, where the red-hot Denver Broncos took down the Raiders 29-19. I have a hot take question for you.
Okay.
And it's a bigger picture conversation. Has Bo Nix done enough to unseat Jaden Daniels as the Offensive Rookie of the Year through 12 weeks?
Well, they're winning ball games. I think that's the difference right now. The Commanders, or the Redskins, I don't like to call them Commanders, sorry. The Redskins have been on a slide here the last few weeks, and I would say he's getting there. He's getting there. I think he's more productive than the rest of these guys right now, surprisingly so. I don't think anybody would have expected him to be playing at a level he's playing at.
Player A, yesterday, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 74 rush yards, and 1 touchdown. Player B yesterday, 273 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he had 1 carry for 5 yards. Who would you rather have, player A or player B?
It's real simple. I mean, obviously the guy that threw the 2 picks, they lost.
Yeah.
So
player B is Jaden Daniels.
But at one point, what I don't think being said there, that player A, them numbers weren't even there come third quarter. That all shit came right at the end.
It all came in the fourth quarter.
When he turned it up, yeah. And that's something that Daniels is very dangerous with, dude. All of a sudden, you got him figured out, and all of a sudden, he explodes on you. I personally like what Denver does better. I think that the way they play, their style of play, will fit better than the Redskins' style of play. And then the Redskins lost a couple of guys yesterday with concussions that really hurt them. Brian Robinson went out, hurt again. Austin Eckler's out with a concussion. So, I mean, I like what Denver's doing, period. I like what they've been doing for the last 5 weeks. I thought Bo Nix has been Rookie of the Year candidate.
So if you had a vote right now,
If I had to vote right now, I'd vote Bo Nix.
I
my opinion.
I think I agree, and it's trending in the right direction.
I think he's a little. His team's a little better structured than the Redskins are, and nothing against their coaching staff or anything. I don't think that Dan Quinn has the knowledge that Sean Payton has, being around the league and
Sean Payton could be coach of the year.
He could be coach of the year. They continue on, and if they can continue to win football games, you gotta put him in that conversation as coach of the year.
Not only that,
Although I think Harbaugh, what he's done with the Chargers has been really good too. I don't see the Chargers sustaining it, but we'll see what happens.
so not only do I have Jaden Daniels below Bo Nix, but personally, I mean, I'm like you. I've been high on Brock Bowers from the start. Brock Bowers is having one of the all-time rookie receiving years.
You can forget about that right now. If they get a quarterback,
Yeah, but
it's over.
You just furthered my point.
Yeah.
You just furthered my point. He's been doing this with dog shit at quarterback.
Yeah.
Brock Bowers.
Well,
I think Brock Bowers, I would put
It's about
second.
to get worse.
Well, it's going to go back to Aiden O'Connell, hopefully. I put Brock Bowers second to Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels third. And then Brian Thomas usurping Marvin Harrison, Roma Dunze, and Malik Neighbors. I think Brian Thomas has been better than all three of them this year. So I'd have him in the conversation. But for me, I'm with you. It's Bo Nix. Real quick on the Raiders.
I agree with the Brian Thomas. As far as receivers go, I think he's been outstanding.
Real quick on the Raiders. Will they win another game? I'm going to run you through their schedule real quick. It's at Chiefs, at Bucks, Falcons at home, Jags at home, at Saints in the Derek Carr revenge game, and then Chargers at home. Will they win one of those 6 games?
Odds are no.
I think they're going to have a
Maybe
shot.
one.
I think
Maybe
they're going to
one.
have a shot with the Jags at home.
Maybe.
And it depends on how much juice they have to go into New Orleans, who looks like a completely different team since.
Listen, I will say this: they could have laid down yesterday, and they didn't. They played hard.
No, they played.
Hard all the way through.
They played a decent
Even
game. They
even
had a lead
losing
early
Minshew.
on. They had a lead early on.
Yeah, and even losing Minshew, they played hard the whole game. Yeah. Once they lost Minshew, it was over.
I envision a scenario where they don't win another game, which takes me to MetLife Stadium, where the Giants, after the week they had, let's just say they didn't do so well against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In the return of Mike Evans, the Bucs took down the Giants 30-7. Real quick before we get to the Giants, are the Bucs the clear favorite to win the South? And I can give you their schedule as well if you'd like. But are the Bucs in the driver's seat? I think they're 2 games back. I think the Falcons are 6-5 and the Bucs are 5-6.
Right now, I think they're the clear. I think they're the best team in that division.
Now let's double down.
Their defense started playing up to par yesterday. Baker was Baker.
I'm going to give you their schedule, and I want you to tell me, opposite of what the Raiders' schedule looked like, I want you to tell me when the Bucs' next loss will happen.
Okay.
They're at Carolina this week.
Okay.
Which Carolina's now playing teams tough, so maybe they'll play Tampa tough.
Yeah, they need to watch out there. That's a trap game.
They play the Raiders at home.
Yeah.
They go to L.A. to play the Chargers, which I could actually see that one as a loss if the Chargers are the team they've been.
Yeah.
Then they go to Dallas.
Okay.
They end the year with the Panthers and the Saints at home.
You know what? The only 2 games that I see them having trouble with, to be totally honest, the Chargers and that game at the end of the year that they're going to have a problem.
So there's a realistic chance they can win 9, maybe even 10 games, which I think wins you that division.
Maybe losing 2 out of the next, 6, 7?
Yeah.
2 out of the next 6?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe losing 2 out of that. Maybe.
I think the big one, especially if they can win the next 2, which is at Panthers and then Raiders at home, they have a huge game against the Chargers in L.A. And I think if they pull that one out, I'll feel really good.
You know what? I feel if they can beat New Orleans.
Excuse me. Are they done playing? Oh, yeah, they don't play the Falcons again.
No, they're done.
And they were swept, right? The Falcons
they
swept
got
them?
swept, but they've done better against the other division opponents than the Falcons have.
Mm-hmm.
So They can catch the Falcons. I don't think that that's over. That division is not settled.
Real quick on the Giants, just because that was like, remember Chicago had that hell week last year where the coaches were, the D coordinator quit, and then everyone was turning on the staff, and people thought there was a FBI raid at Hallis Hall. That's what the Giants had this week with the way they just completely mishandled the Daniel Jones situation. Everyone's a lame duck. It's not looking good.
You think Brian Dable loses his job by the end of the year?
I do now after the Neighbors comments yesterday. Did you happen to see what Malik Neighbors said after the game? Did. They're not getting me the ball.
Well,
more,
he's not the only one.
And asked DB, asked Brian Dable. And Dable came out and said, he's right. I'm going to keep the conversation between him and I, but he's right about that. And I'm going to work to get the ball to him, to Neighbors, in games a little bit earlier. What's next for the Giants? What's next?
The draft.
Okay, happy you said that. So the draft order as of now, it's interesting. So the first pick is the Jaguars. Somehow, the team that's always had the first pick over the last decade would be picking first again. Trevor Lawrence, by the way, he's going to throw tomorrow, and then they're going to make a decision on if they're going to shut him down the rest of the year because he's still injured. But if he could throw properly tomorrow, they're going to let it go. So Jacksonville has the first pick. They're likely not taking a quarterback because they just signed one for $50 million. The Giants pick second. Are they going to go quarterback at pick 2?
Of course.
And who do you think? Who's your guess?
I mean, if you were the Giants right now, who would you take? I would say not Shedeur Sanders.
I would say not Shedeur Sanders because he's a little bit more of a project, even though I like him the best out of this quarterback class.
Correct.
I also don't think he's a fit there.
No.
I just think he doesn't fit. So the top quarterback
They need
prospect,
a guy that can actually read a defense, throw the ball around. That's what they need. You got these nice, you got, you know what? Say what you want to say. I don't think their receiving core is that bad. I really don't.
Well, no, when you factor in Neighbors. Yeah.
They have talent on that team. But I just think they need a quarterback that's able to, number one, read defenses. Number two, get the ball down the field.
Here's the problem. I'm looking at the draft big board right now, and some things that were supposed to happen this year in college football didn't, and some quarterbacks that were supposed to take leaps didn't.
Right.
So QB1 on PFF is Jalen Milroe, who I think he's definitely improved this year. I can't see him rescuing the Giants.
I'm going to be honest with you, dude. I've seen him play. You remember seeing him, right?
Yeah.
Milroe. I don't see him as a productive NFL quarterback. I don't.
Quarterback 2 is Cam Ward, who was really good for the first 2 months and then has looked so shaky and so raw. Like, he reminds me of Anthony Richardson. He's looked so raw over the last couple weeks. QB3 is Shedeur Sanders, not a fit. QB4 is Garrett Nussmeier, and he's got a second-round grade on him.
Okay.
Damn. Quinn Ewers isn't even on here, which is kind of crazy to me.
Why?
But
I was going to suggest that.
Why is he not on there?
he hasn't had a good year, and he's been injured.
Yeah.
And he hasn't had a good year. Do you know Texas hasn't beat one ranked SEC team all year? They haven't beat a ranked team in general all year.
I surprise you, it's Texas.
Yeah. It's just crazy.
Seriously.
I think they'll get punished. Pick 3, by the way, is the Raiders. Pick 4 is the New England Patriots. Pick 5 is the Panthers. So the draft is kind of shaking out interesting right now. I could see a scenario where Jacksonville maybe tries to fleece one of the quarterback-needy teams, but the quarterback-needy teams might wait for the quarterback because the quarterback crop is not that good. It's a really
well, you know what? The
draft.
quarterback crop that last year wasn't really that great either.
Last year?
Yeah.
Last year was one of the best quarterback crops of all time. And it's showing right now in Daniels and Knicks.
Well, I mean,
it's completely showing right now.
I don't
disagree
think
with
it was that good. No, it wasn't 83.
83 has a 30 for 30 on it, though. That's one of the best quarterback crops ever.
You got John Elway, Dan Marino. I mean, they're Hall of Famers, dog.
Jim Kelly.
Keep going down the list. Todd Blackledge.
Todd Blackledge. Yeah.
How he was the top pick. You believe he was picked over fucking Dan Marino went like 13th or 14th in that draft?
Dan Marino didn't have a crazy good college career, though. Dan Marino didn't have the...
He had the tools, though.
So Elway, by the way, if you guys don't know the story, it's a really good 30 for 30.
Yeah.
I think it's called the class of 83 or something like that.
Yep.
But Elway was drafted by Robert Irsay in the Colts and said, "I ain't going there.
I ain't going there.
I ain't going there."
Yep.
And he lobbied for a long time. They ended up working a trade. He got traded to the Broncos. I can't remember. Hold on. There's other quarterbacks in that class. There's other really good quarterbacks in that class. 6 quarterbacks all went in the first round. So it was Elway. Eric Dickerson went second overall in that draft.
Yeah.
The next quarterback to go over Elway was the Chiefs took Todd Blackledge. I think Todd Blackledge won a national championship though at Penn State, didn't he?
Penn State.
Yeah. So it would make sense that he went there. After that, Jim Kelly went 14 to the Bills. Tony Eason went to the New England Patriots.
Went to New England. They got ass pounded by the Bears in '85.
Was that the Super Bowl?
Yep.
And Tony Eason was the Patriots quarterback?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep. How about that? Nobody talks about that. Tony Eason in his second full year, because he drafted in 83, 84, 85, which was the end of the 84 season. He was quarterback in New England Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Next was Ken O'Brien, who went to the Jets at 24.
Yep.
Marino, of course, was the big fish. Went 27th overall to the Dolphins, second to last pick in the first round.
He was so disgusted where he was taken.
Yeah. No,
that was enough motivation for him to smash everybody.
Hold on. If you watch the 30 for 30, he kind of alluded to the fact, he's like, I actually didn't think I was going to go in the first round, but I knew when Miami came up for me that I was going to end up there. So good for him. Good for Marino. Obviously.
You know, all those teams back then played at a different level then.
Do you think Marino was better than Elway?
Do I?
Yeah.
I think Dan Marino is the best thrower of the football I ever seen, period.
He's good.
Bar none. Bar none. Better thrower than Elway, who I think Elway could make throws that not a lot of guys could make. But, I mean, as far as Montana and the rest of these guys, Montana was probably the most accurate and deadly cutthroat guy. But Marino was, listen, his record stood for 40 years before anybody broke them. It took that long to destroy a guy's records that was that played at a time when every team in the NFL had a 1,000-yard rusher. And you can't say that anymore.
Moving on. And perhaps the game of the day yesterday, 41 points scored in the fourth quarter alone. The Cowboys went into Washington with the Commanders really needing a win, and they stunned the Commanders on the road. Dan Quinn losing to his old team that he was the defensive coordinator before. 34-26. Cowboys had a crazy lead until Jaden Daniels introduced some magic with a minute and a half left. That play was great. Terry McLaurin, that was outstanding, and I feel bad about the missed kick there. Is time running out for the Commanders to lock in a playoff spot? They're currently the 7th seed. Do you think they get in?
I don't know at this point. They keep losing these close games.
Mm-hmm.
It's destroying them right now. I mean, because here's let's look at the facts. Right now, as it sits, 3 teams out of the North are going to go in.
Yeah,
and that means one of those other teams in the East, or the West, or the South are going to be out.
Yeah. So as it stands right now, the Commanders are indeed the 7th seed.
Yep.
They are behind, as Uncle Sam mentioned. I think the Vikings are the 5, the Packers are the 6.
Yep.
And showing no sign of slowing down. So it's just a battle for the 7th. And behind them is whoever comes out in the West, and then maybe Tampa or Atlanta. The Commanders cannot afford to lose any games going forward.
They need to win. I don't know what their schedule looks like going forward, but
yeah, I think it's going to be really tricky for the Commanders to get in. Their schedule going forward is not easy. I know they play the Eagles again at home at some point. This week they have the Titans, so that's a good get for them. Then they have a bye. They have a late bye. That's I think.
You know what though? I mean, that Titan game, that's a tough game.
Yeah, it's not.
That's
easy.
a tough game. I'd be worried right there, especially with the way Will Levis has been playing.
The Titans are playing teams close. That Will Levis has gotten better, and their defense is slowly improving. They go to New Orleans after the bye for Week 15. They have Philly at home Week 22. They host the Falcons, who might be fiending to get a win, and then they go to Dallas, who they just lost to end the year, Week 18.
They need that game. It's
going to come easy.
They're going to need that game.
I think they need. So they're at.
They need to beat Philly and them.
They're at what, 7 wins right now?
I believe so. They're 7-4.
They're at 7 wins. They need 3 of the
Yeah.
need 3 of the 5.
They need 3 of the 5.
They need 3 of the 5. I think
And 2 of
10
them are
wins.
division games.
10 wins probably gets it done. I don't think 9 does it because I think the Cardinals could probably win it with 9 games. So I think it's going to be really tricky and really difficult for them to get in. And then real quick on the Cowboys, it's a good win for them. They needed it. I'm shocked they pulled it out. Cooper Rush looked a lot better. I don't think the team has given up like you think they've had, especially the defense. I don't think the defense has given up.
You know
I think
what?
they
The
take it
defense
years
kept
to-
them in that game yesterday.
Yeah, agreed.
And I will say this, Cooper Rush looked a lot better than he did the 2 weeks prior.
So real quick on the Cowboys, which position group? They're right now, as of today, they'd be picking 11th. Which position group would you target?
O-line, dude, all day long with them.
Which they just targeted, by the way.
You know what? They need to target some more.
I disagree.
Because if you can't protect your quarterback, you're done.
Not that they don't need O-linemen, because they
Yeah.
do, and they had some attrition. They just drafted a guy, obviously. Who is it? Jalen Guyton from Oklahoma.
They need more help than that.
I think they should go running back.
Well, I think they're probably going to go. They're not going to go running back in the first round, even though the Lions kind of set the precedence on that.
I think they might.
I don't see them doing it.
I think they might. I think Ashton Genty from Boise State.
I think if you're picking lower, I would get it, but they're going to be picking high, and I don't think you can pick. You don't waste a pick on a running back at where are they going to be picking?
11 right now.
They're at 11 right now. Well, maybe they could.
No,
you know what?
Your
I
point's
think
not
you're right.
lost. It
think
is.
you're right.
It's early for a running back. I agree.
Yeah.
I just think that having a proper
I mean, we
run
got to
game.
see where they're gonna. You know what? The position's gonna change
Mm-hmm.
from now till 7 games from now. So let's say they win 1 out of the next 6 games,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe 2 out of the next 6 games. They're gonna be picking higher than 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't know how many more they're going
And
to
I agree. I actually like that kid too, from Iowa.
Boise State. Genty.
Or Boise State.
Genty, yeah.
There's another kid from Iowa that's really good too that I actually like.
I think it's Keldon Johnson. What's his name?
That
Keldon
kid,
Johnson?
yes, he's a beast. I seen him playing. He was very impressive.
So to answer your question, the Cowboys schedule going forward, perfect recipe. They have the Giants coming to town Thursday for a Thanksgiving 4:30 midday hors d'oeuvre.
Giants need this game bad. Gable wants to keep his job. He better win this game.
You win that one.
And I don't think Tommy Cutlets is the answer.
No, 100% he's not.
I really don't.
The Bengals go there for Monday Night Football on Monday, December 9th. Then the Cowboys go to the Panthers on the 15th. That's not a gimme.
That's not easy, man. These extra games.
Tampa comes to them on the 22nd.
4
They go
games.
to Philly on the 29th, and they have the Commander. None
Listen,
of these games are easy.
they can lose all these games.
They could, realistically. I think they beat the Giants, realistically. I think they beat the Giants. I think they have a shot to beat the Panthers. That's 2 wins. That gets them to 6. So 6, whatever 6-11 puts them at. I think that's a top 10 pick at last year's placement, but we'll see. Moving on to Sunday Night Football, the Eagles went into LA and took down the Rams 37-20. I think the game was a little closer than the score was until the second half. That being said, the story was obviously Saquon Barkley. Uncle Sam, is Saquon Barkley a legitimate MVP candidate?
Yes. I'm tired of seeing quarterbacks win that award. I think that's a bad precedence all these years. It's quarterback. You get tired of seeing it. You know, unless you're doing something that nobody else has ever done, I don't think it should be quarterback. I don't. There's actually 2 guys that I think that deserve some talking about MVP. I think Derrick Henry's one of them because I think everybody kind of left him for dead when he left the Titans. I think he deserves to be in this conversation also. I get it. He's not leading the league in rushing like Barkley, but I think both of those guys deserve the chance to win it. I'm tired of seeing this award go to a quarterback every year. Because you know what? It takes a lot more than just for a quarterback to win these awards, and those guys never get the accomplishments that the quarterbacks do. Like Barkley right now. Take Barkley off of Philadelphia, they are not where they are right now. Guaranteed they're not where they're at.
Yeah, so I agree, and I want to bring that up. I think Saquon should be in the conversation. I'm probably not voting for him over Goff or over Lamar Jackson or even over Josh Allen.
I'm going to be honest with you, Lamar Jackson. Let's talk about the Ravens, what they've done. You take Derrick Henry out of their equation, they're not where they're at right now. Guaranteed.
So real quick, you brought up a good point on Saquon. Everyone's sky high on the Eagles right now. Again, they just beat another team with a losing record yesterday. So
correct.
So please do not let that be lost.
Not to say that the Rams are bad. They're better than some of these teams that they've played.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. But I don't think they can beat the best teams without Jalen Hurts having to throw the ball for 250 to 300 yards every game. I don't think you can rely on just Saquon. I don't think you can beat the Packers relying on just Saquon, even though they did that technically.
Yeah, you're gonna roll into the playoffs here. The recipe to win in the playoffs is pretty simple. Be accurate with your ball downfield and run the football and play defense. That's what's going to win you these.
Yeah, but at some point, Jalen Hurts is going to have to make a big throw, and they're going to have
He's going to have to
win the Super Bowl.
That's going to separate the men from the boys.
To win the Super Bowl,
like last year with Lamar Jackson in the second half of the Kansas City game, he
Agreed.
forgot how to play football.
To win the Super Bowl, the ball is going to have to be in your quarterback's hands at some point.
Yeah, and if you ain't 6'5" and 250 pounds like Allen over there in Buffalo,
and as good as
and if you ain't. The point guard, Patty Mahomes, if you ain't that, outside that, what's winning the Super Bowls now?
As good as Jalen Hurts has been in this 6-game win streak, and I think he's only turned the ball over one time.
Yeah.
Still, it's like I'm watching them yesterday, and it's cool. We're watching Saquon rip these runs off, but it's leaving a little bit to be desired. Again, I think they're in that conversation of maybe missing.
And again, you look at the games that they've lost, he's been bad.
Yeah.
Hurts has been bad.
I agree.
You know what? I've seen a lot of games where you've seen Kyler Murray yesterday trying to make reads and didn't know what to do because they were only rushing 3 and dropping 8. Mm-hmm. And it confused the shit out of them. Listen, you got to make the throws. If you can't make the throws, you're not going to win.
Are the Eagles a surefire threat to the Lions in the NFC? Or
I think so.
Are there slip-ups? Do they have slip-ups in their future? I'll give you their schedule.
I don't think their schedule's that tough down.
We're almost in playoff machine season. No, I think it's somewhat tough. So okay. I see 3 games that stand out. So next week they go to Baltimore.
Okay.
Then after that,
that'd be a tough game for them.
Tough game. The Panthers come to them.
Okay.
You ready for this one?
Yeah.
We got the battle for Pennsylvania, December 15th. The Steelers go to Philly, though.
Well, here we go.
That should be a good one.
Let's talk about that. I thought the Steelers were the best team in the AFC.
Mm-hmm. So did I.
Okay. And then the Cleveland Browns punched them in the mouth.
Any given Sunday.
That So where do you? I still think the Steelers. 30. I still think the Steelers are the best team in the AFC outside Kansas City. I mean, because we had this conversation already. And I think if anybody's going to take down KC, it's either going to be the Steelers or Baltimore.
So after Pittsburgh, they go to Washington. They have the return trip to Washington, and a game that they barely. It's their only win against a team with a winning record is against the Commanders, but they did beat the Commanders in Philly last Thursday. Then Dallas comes to them on the 29th, and the Giants come to them on the 5th.
Well, they got 2 gimmies at the end of the year that are in division.
That's so it's
helped them big time.
It's next 4 to keep pace with the Lions. They're probably going to have to win 3 of the next 4. They can afford one slip up. They can't.
I think they'll beat the Giants and beat them easily.
Yeah, and they'll beat the Cowboys. They should beat the Cowboys. They should beat the Panthers, right?
They should.
They can't afford the split with the Commanders, and then they realistically
that Baltimore game. Do they need it? Yes and no.
For the 1 seed, they need it. For the 1 seed, they need to beat Baltimore.
Yeah,
they
but
have to.
Listen, whose schedule do you think's tougher going down the stretch, Phillies or Detroit's? I think Detroit's is harder. Detroit has to go to San Francisco.
Not worried about.
They got Buffalo here.
I'm worried about the only games I'm worried about for the Lions are Green Bay next week, and then the 2 Chicago games. I think by the time they get to Week 18, the Minnesota. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, Buffalo.
Yeah.
So their next 4 after this week. And
Okay,
if you
let's say for shits and giggles, is that Buffalo game here or in Buffalo?
it's here.
All right. Let's say they drop that game against Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to happen, but let's say it.
There's still 2 games left after that.
Let's say it does. Let's say they drop that game against Buffalo.
Or excuse me, 3
They
games
look
left after that.
bad doing it.
Mm-hmm.
How many people you think are going to panic?
Oh, they're gonna panic like crazy,
Right.
but
Right.
the Chiefs dropped games to Buffalo this
Right.
year, last year, and the year before.
Yeah.
And they beat them in the playoffs.
And guess
through the
what?
last 3.
It doesn't matter because you know what? With Patty Mahomes, dude, you go on the road. They go into everybody else's house and they come out a champion.
We haven't said anything about the Rams. Are the Rams' playoff dreams dead?
Yeah, they're done.
I think you're right. I
Yeah.
think it's a little. It's too
They're
little.
done.
Too
I
late.
think they're a little too far behind to catch the other teams. And that whole division is just, they're going to beat each other up so much that I don't see any of them getting past anything in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my opinion.
We have 2 more games. We'll keep it quick. The Dolphins took down the Patriots, I believe, at home.
Yeah, they won 3 straight.
34-15. Can we really quickly assess the Dolphins' playoff chances?
I think they're still in it, to be honest with
They-
you. I thought they were out.
Mathematically,
a week ago.
they're
Still
still
in
in it. Their schedule going forward is actually not easy. Their schedule going forward is at Green Bay Thursday night. How's that for a Thanksgiving game?
That's awesome.
That's a good one. The Jets come to them, should be good. They go to Houston for week, what is that? Week 15. They go to Houston.
Okay.
And Houston's reeling right now. San Francisco comes to them. They go to
Okay.
Cleveland December 29th, which is cold. And then the Jets, they go to the Jets on January 5th. They need
That's not a gimme.
they need to sweep the Jets, and they need to take 2 sweeping the
last
Jets
3
this is
games?
7, 8, 9.
Say those last 3 games were they at again?
Last 3 games. Their only home one is the before Christmas. The Niners at home. They go to Cleveland. They go to New York to play the Jets.
That is not easy.
No, it's not.
Those last 2 games going on the road to Cleveland.
I
when
think
it's
they gave
cold
away.
and the snow is blowing.
I think they're in it, but they gave
Right.
away 1 too many games. The only way I see them getting in is if the Chargers or the Broncos blow up. That's the only way I see it happen.
You know what's going to tell you right now where they're going to be? The first game with the Jets, they got to be able to beat the Jets. That first game
I'm not
at Miami.
The Jets don't
They
scare me.
have to beat the Jets at Miami.
The Jets don't scare me as much as going into
Well,
Cleveland in the
here's
cold.
the problem with the Jets. Because they only play 1 quarter out of 4 and still almost win games, sooner or later, something is going to click with them. And they are going to throw a fucking monkey wrench in somebody's game.
Yeah, maybe.
Yep.
They say Aaron Rodgers is the healthiest he's been. I'm laughing inside hearing that, but
Yeah, I don't.
real quick,
I think he's taken a worse beating this year than I've seen him take in 10 years.
real quick on the Patriots. What do the Patriots have to show you over the next month to create any optimism going into 2025?
Well,
Is there anything?
They were doing pretty good the 2 weeks prior. They were putting toward consistent efforts, and they folded yesterday. So, I mean, I think they're going to have to win at least a couple more games for Gerard Mayo to be back next year. I mean, do you keep this guy? I don't think I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see him being much of a head coach. I don't know if it's just me. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, going forward.
That confused me when they hired him.
Going forward, I guess I would put all of my focus into Drake May.
Yeah.
And just because he's shown the flashes, I think there's a lot of potential.
Yeah, but he looked bad. Yeah.
Wasn't his best game yesterday. He still had some big time throws, but you need to. Right now, I'm trying to advance the Drake May cause as best.
No, I get that. I mean, what are you gonna do? Hey, you got to build it around somebody. You just here's what the Lions and other teams have done over the decades is. They put all their cards into a fucking basket, and then first couple of years go by, and they want to pull the plug. You keep doing that with coaching staffs and everything, year after year after year, you don't gonna accomplish nothing. This is why the Jets have been garbage too since Rex Ryan left. Same thing. This guy, that guy, the other guy. You just listen to me. You need to do your research. Don't be gullible and hire the right people. You got to hire somebody like Dan Campbell, who I truly thought that my man was going to stroke out when that team was losing. I mean, it legitimately killed that guy. He would cry during press conferences. This is how much it meant to him. And if you can't find somebody like that to run your team, then I feel sorry for you guys. Everybody laughed at this guy. I called him a meathead, a buffoon, but look what he's done. He's got this team. They're the best team in football, period, bar none.
Moving on, one more. Perhaps a massive surprise yesterday is the Texans went into Houston and took down, the Titans went into Houston and took down the Texans 32-27. Was this Will Levis's best game as a pro?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he made better decisions yesterday than I've seen him make all year.
That's the biggest
even
improvement.
before the benching.
Since he's been back since the injury, that's the biggest improvement I think we've seen is his decision.
You remember the first 3 games of the year, Will Levis gave him up.
Mm-hmm.
The first 3 games of the year, it was his turnovers that caused them to lose.
Mm-hmm.
That went the other way. They would have won those games.
And I was high on the Titans this year going in, and that could be the difference between them winning the division or not, is those games.
Yeah. Think about that. They gave away the best running back in football.
So will Levis be the starter next year?
I think he has to be. I mean, you're vested in him. Unless you're going to draft a guy and move on, I don't think you could do that at this point.
So I have an important question for you. Are we worried about C.J. Stroud right now?
No.
You
You know what I'm worried about? Their offensive line is garbage. I don't know what happened between last year and this year, but they've been fucking bad. That kid's taking a pounding.
Stroud was 247 yards, 2 TDs, and 2 interceptions. I think he has not looked good at all this year. I think and it's normal for quarterbacks to regress in year 2, especially when they have a monster rookie year.
Yeah, he's not surprising.
It's normal for that to happen. But I think his regression has been somewhat alarming at this point. They're winning games and in games because of their defense, in my opinion. And their defense is banged up. And I know they've had issues. Tank Dell was injured at one point. Nico Collins is injured at one point. They lost Stephon Diggs.
You know what? They got the same thing going on there as Green Bay's got.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, these guys cannot get their receiving cores all to play at the same time, and I think that's an issue.
Yeah, so I am worried about C.J. Stroud. Again, they're able to do this rope-a-dope because their division's bad. The only team I could see coming forward is the Colts, and it's just, in my opinion, it's just not going to happen unless something changes over the next month. But it's something to keep an eye on. Is maybe this isn't Houston's year to get it going like everyone thought. A lot of people had them in the Super Bowl. I
thought they were going to be there, to be honest with you.
As recently as 2 weeks ago after that, they looked good against the Lions. I thought that they were in that class with the Bills and with the Chiefs and with the Steelers and the Ravens. Right now, I think
they're playing. You know what they're playing up to? The level of the competition.
It's not good.
And when you're doing that, you don't win shit that way.
That's what the Chiefs are doing. You can't play to your competition.
Well,
it's not good.
Here's the difference, though. The Chiefs have done that and won Super Bowls. That's the difference. Because when it comes time to play, they're ready. When it comes time, playoff time, playing football, there's no harder place to go to right now than Arrowhead. And when they got you and they're down and there's 2 minutes left and you're giving them the ball with 2 minutes left and Patty Mahomes has the ball, everybody shits themselves.
Real quick, we got a really good Monday night game. And in terms of storylines, let alone the teams are both very good, but in terms of storylines, it's about as good as it gets. It's Harbowl 3. They haven't played each other since that Super Bowl, by the way, which I didn't know.
Okay. Well, yeah, because Harbaugh wasn't there no more.
Who needs this win more?
Huh?
Who needs this win more? The Chargers or the? Oh, by the way, the Ravens are favored by 2.5.
I think John Harbaugh does right now. I think he does.
Yeah.
You need to keep pace of where you're at.
I think coming off of a Steelers loss,
yeah,
like the Chargers can lose this game and they don't lose that much ground in there because they're not winning the division, so they don't lose that much ground in the wild card, and they have winnable games left on their schedule. Whereas I think the Chargers, the Ravens, they need this
game
because they're trying to hold pace and win the division. Plus, they just haven't looked good. Like last week, you lost to who'd they lose to last week? The Browns, or did they win last week?
They lost to the Browns.
Or they lost to the Steelers last week. Excuse me, they lost to the Steelers last week.
Steelers
in Pittsburgh. They lost to the Steelers in Pittsburgh. So it's not good. I don't think this is going to be the rock fight that we might
Plus,
have
they
saw on
lost to
paper.
Cleveland, too. I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah, and they lost to Cleveland.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Really?
I love the storyline. It's the Harbaughs. What's not to like? I do think that this is going to be less of a rock fight than people think. I think you're going to see a lot of. I think Justin Herbert's going to open the shit out of the playbook tonight. I think you're going to see a lot of throws downfield.
I hope not. Listen, I need this guy to put a 5 up. That's it.
Do you have Herbert, Bruce?
Yes, sir.
But I also think I'm curious to see how this. The Chargers are the number one defense. It's the only defense that's been better than the Lions this year. It's Jesse Minter's defense from Michigan over the last 2 years. It's really good. It's the Michigan defense. I'm curious to see how it holds up against Lamar Jackson. I'm curious. What are they going to do? Do they want him in the pocket? Do they want him throwing the ball and making plays? Do they want him taking off? Are they going to put a spy on him? I'm curious to see how the two deep safeties fare. It should be fun. I'm excited for this one. I think this could be a lot of fun. And I haven't looked forward to a Monday night game like this in a while. I think it's an exciting one. And
well, here's my assessment of this game. Saquon Barkley, everybody's talking about him being MVP. Everybody's forgetting that somebody else has scored a touchdown in every game this year that they've played, and that's Derrick Henry. Probably comeback player of the year, Derrick Henry. I mean, it's the guy who they dumped. They didn't want him anymore. And look what he's done.
yeah,
And I got a feeling you're going to see a big dose of Derrick Henry tonight.
I agree. I think they're gonna. Well, actually, I disagree. I think the game plan for the Chargers, the defensive game plan, is they're gonna want Lamar to throw the ball. They're not gonna want Henry or Lamar's legs to beat them. They're going to want Lamar to air the ball out and see if he can connect on these guys. It's been slow going for Deontay Johnson. We haven't said his name since he's been traded. Zay Flowers, great receiver. He has good games and bad games. Obviously, we know there's been issues with the tight ends all year with
Right.
Andrews and with it's on and off. They're either big games or bad games. Andrews and Likely. So I'm curious. I think it should be a fun one. Who you taking? Ravens are 2.5-point favorites.
Taking the Ravens.
Bruce?
I thought we already picked this. No?
We did pick
We
it,
did.
right? But I'm giving you the opportunity to change.
Actually, I thought I had
I
the
took the
Chargers. I'm going to take the
Chargers.
Ravens.
You picked the Chargers, Bruce? I think I had the Ravens. I'm sticking with the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Chargers.
I'm going to take the Ravens. Ravens and what's the over-under?
The over-under on this one, I think
It's
it's
snow
low.
tonight.
What'd you say?
So it's shitty weather there.
It's in L.A.
Oh, it's in L.A.?
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Ravens anyway.
The over-under is probably going to be 41.5. That's my guess.
I'll take the over.
That was a guess. I'll let you know.
It's 41.5. I'm taking the over.
Oh, it's 51 points.
No, I'll take the under.
So the under, yeah.
Okay.
I think it's the under.
Sorry.
I don't
51
know.
points. I'm taking the under.
I don't know. On paper, one would think defense wins this one, but the Chargers, or excuse me, the Ravens are just in so many bloodbaths all year. There's just so many games where the score gets run up, and I'm excited to watch Justin Herbert. He's the player that I'm most excited to see. What Harbaugh has done for and with Herbert this year, with no Pete, it's funny watching the receivers. Like those receivers are not supposed to be good, and their lad McConkey is lighting it up, and they're. What's his name? Quentin Johnson's. He actually looks like the first round pick all of a sudden. I'm excited to see that. Anyways, yeah. So we got some news. We're giving away another set of tickets on Wednesday. We're probably giving another set of tickets away next week to the Packers game, and probably another set of tickets away the week after that for the Bills game. So you guys should really just keep tuning in and staying with this podcast because we're a lot of fun. We're from Detroit. We're East Siders. What's not to like? Bruce, what's not to like?
I mean, you could argue Uncle Sam. No, I'm just kidding.
Bruce is trying to get a one-way ticket to get his ass kicked. But
Hey.
thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe. You can follow us on YouTube. You can follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, @TipBalls, Instagram, @TipBalls. We're on TikTok. We want you to come to TikTok. We love to interact with you on TikTok. Ask us fantasy questions on Wednesdays on TikTok. You can find us there @TipBalls as well. I promise we see it. I promise we'll answer. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it. Please come back Wednesday to see who wins another set of tickets. But We'll preview Lions and Bears. We'll preview all of the games for Thursday night. We'll preview the Friday night game. We might even have a watch party for the Friday night game. We're talking about it. Or excuse me, the Friday afternoon game, the Black Friday game. Thank you for listening. We will see you on Wednesday. Have a good evening.